We'd like to welcome you to this edition of EMU Today. We want you to sit back and relax and enjoy the conversation. And we have a great show lined up for you. And I'd like to say again, welcome to Alexa Barrett. Alexis, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Good. Nice job on your first time out last time, right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we're going to welcome all of you to EMU Today. We have a very special guest. And we're going to talk a little bit of football with the head football coach from Eastern Michigan University. Toughness, pride, and resilience. And those are the key words that describe EMU's football coach, Creighton, as he enters his sixth season as the head man here at Eastern Michigan. And he was recently named, 6 years ago, named as the 37th head football coach. Coach, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited about it.
We're so glad to have you. And talk to us briefly about your background before you got to Eastern Michigan as the head football coach.
Well, I grew up on the West Coast, but came out to Ohio, small school in Ohio, private liberal arts school, Kenyon College, as a 4-year experiment. And then when I graduated, I got into coaching, and I've been in the Midwest ever since.
And you came here from Drake?
Drake University.
Drake University. And what brought you here? What was the attraction to come to EMU?
It's a long story, but just an awesome opportunity to try to build something special in a place that people love and care about. But football had been down for a number of years, and so a great challenge and opportunity to try to restore it and bring pride.
And speaking of that pride, and I want to talk more so about the student athlete, and more so the student. And my understanding is that the graduation rates amongst the athletes in general at Eastern Michigan, in particular, the football program is one of the highest in the Mid-American Conference. Is that true?
We're doing well. We really are. Just really proud of the entire department. It truly is a student athlete, and I think the percentages and the numbers show that. Our guys last year had a 3.0 team cumulative GPA for the first time for the entire year, and so it's a big deal when they're doing both things well.
Yeah, and let's emphasize student. I was a student athlete here when I was here on campus a couple of years ago, of course. And but let's emphasize the fact that these are student athletes. I know you had a couple of questions you want to ask.
Yeah, so you were the first coach to bring us to 2 bowl games, and also you brought us to our first bowl game in 30 years. What do you think you brought differently that changed that?
Well, that's a really good question. I just know that when we first got here, our solution to, again, trying to make the program a source of pride for the school and the community and hopefully the region, we needed to assemble great people. Not that there weren't great people here before, but that's what we needed to do, get great people together. And so I needed to hire great people. And what I mean by that is people who care about who they're coaching, but then are also experts, at coaching college football. And then needed to recruit people that, again, I would just say great people, and again, we're talented and passionate about the game of football, but just guys that you could trust and would represent us well. And I just felt, and still do, that if you get 115 great people together and coaches that care about them and doing things for the right reason, that really good things are going to happen.
And that's an integral part of the college experience, is getting an opportunity to go watch the college football team and all of our student athletes. Certainly enhances the learning experience as well.
It really does, yeah. Just the altogether college experience. When you think of college, you think of not only going to classes, but you think of the extracurriculars and going to the football games and kind of just having fun with your friends and enjoying that part as well.
Yeah. And let's talk about, there's a new facility that just recently opened on campus, I think this past summer, the Student Athlete Performance Center. And I know we have a few slides that we're going to show the audience. Talk to us about the Performance Center.
It's a game changer.
Is it?
It is.
Exactly what is it, and why is it a game changer?
Well, I mean, I could, do you have 3 hours? But
yeah, a few slides up here.
Oh, good. Yeah. So if we're looking at it right here, that is, I don't know if that's the front or back, but that's the stadium view of the Student Athlete Performance Center. And there's the main entrance, coming from the backside where the bubble currently exists. In the lobby there, you can see it's a giant MAC championship trophy. We have 147, and some people don't know that our athletic department, by far and away, has the most MAC championships.
I had no idea. I didn't
in the
know
MAC.
that.
I mean, it's by a long shot. Here's a shot of the locker room. This last year, we were underneath our stadium. And so this is quite a change, but I think there's 115 lockers in there and just enough space. The guys spend a ton of time in the locker room, and with a limit of 20 hours a week to be doing football, we got to be really efficient. This is getting up into the athletic training room, and so we have a spot in the convo, but with 18 different sports, we really needed this, both the space and some of the facility. We have, I don't know if we got another shot there, but yeah, that is on the upstairs of the facility. Call that a recruiting lounge. It's got, I think, the best view in the state of Michigan. I used to say one of the best views on campus, but now it's the best view in the state of Michigan. It overlooks the stadium, and you can see the convo there in the background. That again is back then into the athletic training center right there. So we have some really high-tech rehabilitation opportunities now with the underwater treadmill and computer and all of that good stuff. So it's made us better for sure.
So it's a state-of-the-art facility, and it sounds like it's probably the ultimate here in the Mid-American Conference. And you said it was a game changer. Why is it a game changer? My understanding is that student athletes are beginning to ask about this facility.
Well, there's a bunch of different levels of why it's a game changer. First, for our guys. I mean, when they first saw it, and when I say our guys, the entire athletic department is going to be affected by this, either directly or indirectly. And I know when we first went into it in July, guys said, "Wow, I feel like a Division I football player." And that being proud of what you have and where you're from and feeling supported and that things matter, it makes a difference. All the student athletes work incredibly hard to represent the Block E really well, and so when you feel blessed, grateful to have such a great facility, it matters and can help, just even change your own mindset. The efficiency of having the athletic training, having the strength and conditioning, having the locker room, having the player position meeting rooms, the team meeting room, the coaches' offices, all under one roof really helps with the efficiency as well. Again, there's a limited amount of time that these guys can be involved in football or any of the sports. And it's West Campus, so there's already some travel involved, and you just want to be efficient.
And a lot of donors. We've had a lot of donors to make contributions to the facility. Former Detroit Lion and former EMU player, I think, T.J. Lang.
T.J. Lang, he sure has.
Yeah, he has a garage there.
Yeah, that's right. So he donated money for the strength and conditioning. So we've called it TJ's Garage to go along with the factory, and he's just been a huge support to us. And
one of my good friends who, when I ran track here, he played basketball here at Eastern Michigan, Jack Russowitz.
Yeah.
And I know Jack's made some contributions. But I don't want to slight any alums. I really want to give everybody the proper due. So we don't want to slight any donations. All the donors were important for making that facility happen.
So I've actually got a quick question from the student perspective of
Sure.
this. So I know personally as a college student, it can be really hard to balance just day-to-day activities. How is the center going to help the student athletes balance their school life with the life of practices and games and team building?
Yeah, I really do think that the time management and the efficiency is probably the best answer for that. It may not seem like much, but when you are on campus and then back and forth with wherever you're living, whether it's on campus or off campus, and then coming over to the facility. Then within the facility, we were under the stadium on the far end where the Student Athlete Performance Center is located now, and then in the convo. And then in the convo, we were on the third floor. The team meeting room and position meeting rooms are on the, in the basement floor. And so, I mean, everything that we do is timed by the minute. And so I think it's going to help them manage their time and to be more efficient would be one main reason for them. And you were also asking too just about the game changer.
Yeah.
We've had recruits in the building now who have been to other Mid-America Conference facilities and whatnot, and I've already heard things that I've just never heard before. Like they have such and such at whatever place, but they don't have anything like this.
Yeah.
And in 6 years, I just never had heard anybody say anything like that. And whether it's right or wrong, it does matter.
Yeah, and Alexis, I think you make a good point. You have to balance the time, and these, I mean, while they're student athletes, they're still balancing their studies, and they have to work out, and anything that can make their time more efficient and much more focused is going to help them both academically as well as physically, I'm sure.
There's no doubt, and the facility has room now. I mean, for the past year, we didn't have a place where everybody could be together. And so you mentioned a little bit just about team bonding or team unity. I mean, they essentially have a home now, but there's also space for guys to relax, but also to study. I know that there's a defensive end, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now. It was actually our bye week, so that may be a couple more weeks ago, who said he was there till 2 a.m. He just didn't want to go to the library, it was closed or whatever, and he was getting ready for a big project and, was just stayed in the facility, and that's what we want it to be about for him.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, and then we have maybe a minute or so remaining, as we think about comparing it to other MAC schools, is that, from your perspective, the top facility in the Mid-American Conference?
I haven't seen them all.
Okay.
When we go to play a game, I mean, we can see some things from the outside, but they usually don't invite us in to go check out their offices and all of that. But, I mean, part of it for me is that it's not necessarily a competition with the other MAC schools. I get that it is. I just know that Eastern Michigan has made a commitment to making things better for the student athletes here at Eastern Michigan, and it's an enormous upgrade. And so regardless of how some people perceive it, to measure up against other places, we think it's super special.
Well, in close, I do have to say that I had the opportunity of traveling with the football team down in Kentucky, and that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I want to thank you and your team for inviting me to attend. I really enjoyed that weekend.
Oh, absolutely. We were really glad you were with us.
My pleasure. That was, again, Coach Chris Creighton here at Eastern Michigan University. We wish you much continued success.
Awesome. Thank you.
And speaking of football, homecoming weekend was recently, and Ms. Jaden Short spent some time out and about talking to people about their experience for homecoming. Sit back and enjoy the experience with Jaden Short. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Jaden Shorts, and we are here with Emu Today at Rynearson Stadium for Eastern Michigan University's 99th homecoming. We're going to check out some tailgates and talk to some people. Let's check it out. Yes, and how is the Rec IM feeling about the tailgate today?
We're really excited to have our alumni back and our current student staff and to just celebrate them coming home.
This feels amazing. I love this institution. It afforded me so many opportunities, so I'm so glad to be back as an alum for the first time. Very exciting.
While I've never actually got an opportunity to go to homecoming weekend, I played for the club rugby team my entire undergrad, so I had games every Saturday. This is actually my first tailgating experience with Eastern Michigan, and I am very excited.
I'm proud, As you can see, I still got the clothes. I'm still repping them, so it means something.
Go Eagles! Go Eagles! Eastern Eagles, hats up to you. What year did you graduate from Eastern Michigan?
2017.
93.
2010.
2009.
89. 65.
I graduated 2003. 2003, yes. I was like, I don't remember.
I go back to when the stadium was back on campus and they packed that 5,000 seat stadium.
So this is my second year being an alumni, so it's nice coming back and seeing friends and just reconnecting, making new friends too. Every year is just a fun opportunity. So I'm really glad to be home.
I am here with some dear friends of mine that I would have met my sophomore year at Eastern Michigan.
I met my wife here and we got married and we have 3 kids.
I always have a great time when I come up to Eastern. My kids have gone here, I've gone here. It's wonderful. Love Eastern.
This is home for me. I'm a local guy. I play football and basketball here at EMU. I'm from Belleville originally, so to come back and experience homecoming, the 99th homecoming is pretty special for me.
I'm here with the alumni band. We got 80 members from about 5 different decades here to perform pregame with the current pride of the peninsula.
I am a season ticket holder, and I played football here from 2006, 2010. So I try and get back as much as I can. Yeah, this is Maggie's first game.
Look to the sky, the eagles will fly. Fight for old EMU and victory.
Go Eagles!
Thank you, Eastern Michigan. We've had a lot of fun for our 99th homecoming, and we cannot wait to see what happens next year for our 100th homecoming. We met some fun and exciting people, met some great organizations, and we had a lot of fun on the field. This was EMU Today, and I'm Jaden Shorts.
Thank you, Jaden. Appreciate that report on the homecoming. I had the opportunity of attending homecoming this year, and I want to thank President Smith and his staff for inviting me, and also our good friend Walter Kraft for inviting me to this year's game. Had a blast, ran into a bunch of old alums. It was a wonderful time, a wonderful opportunity to integrate as part of the college experience as well.
Yeah, I actually didn't make it to the game, but I wish I did.
Yeah. And speaking of the college experience, the band experience, I'd like to welcome Dr. Chandler Wilson, who's from Miami, Florida. Yeah. And this things with Florida A&M University, also known as FAMU,
yes,
if you will. The Rattlers.
The Rattlers.
The Rattlers. I recall the Rattlers.
Yes.
But we want to welcome you to Eastern Michigan. You are the band director for the university?
Yes, my official title is the Associate Director of Bands, and I'm also the director of the marching band as well.
Okay, and so before we kind of unpack the experience with the band, because I know you're doing some phenomenal things. But talk to us. What brought you up to Michigan from Florida?
Well, I was completing my doctorate down at Florida State University, and when the job posted, two of my professors actually emailed me about 30 seconds apart and said, hey, this is a program that you really should look into. Not just because of the work ethic that the students have here, but the level of history that the music education department has as well, and to work with amazing faculty like Dr. Mary Schneider and Christopher Berg, who's our director of the School of Music and Dance. It made it worth it.
Yeah. And so talk about the transition to Michigan. And, was this your first time up here, or kind of?
First time longer than 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Yes. I got a chance to come up a couple of times when I was a student at FAMU, and we performed at the Ford Field for a couple of football games. But the transition's been interesting. My allergies have been taking a beating a bit.
Now you're a Michigander.
Yeah, we're working on it. I'm slowly adjusting to the Michigander side, but we're looking forward to it. My wife and my daughter and I are kind of getting adjusted, so we're enjoying
and speaking of Ford Field, the band had the opportunity of performing recently at the Detroit Lions game at halftime. Talk to us about that experience of performing for Eastern's band in front of 65,000 people.
It was an amazing experience for one. I thought it was great for the students particularly because it's not every day you get to perform in front of 65,000 people. I did find out that the Lions fans are slightly loyal. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I understand how it is when we don't have a great winning season. But when I walked in and saw everybody in their seats, I was like, this is going to be great. But it was good for the students to get that opportunity, and especially to see how the production of it normally works, because there's really a lot of fast to go. So even though we get there an hour and a half before the game, we really don't stop moving for the hour and a half until we perform on the field and out. So it's something they would remember. So I thought it was a great opportunity.
But yet you didn't find out it was at last minute because the Detroit Youth Choir was going to perform, but in case you're wondering, the Detroit Youth Choir was recently selected number 2 as part of a major competition. They were unable to participate, but you got the call a couple of days in advance. And yet you put on an outstanding show with very little lead time.
And it was great. It was great timing, ideally, as well, because we were looking for something to get our show on the field. So, perfect time.
So I'm actually curious, so when you first joined band as a student, whether it was high school, middle school, whatever, What were your ambitions then? Did you want to be a band director? When did you realize that's the career path you wanted to follow?
Absolutely not. I just wanted to play and have fun. When I first started college, when I was an undergrad student at Florida A&M, I started off as a computer graphics major. So music was something I was good at, but I didn't plan on teaching. But we had an intervention one day. I was in the middle of marching band practice, and my marching band director asked me, "Why aren't you a music major?" And said, "Come to my office the next morning." And there's about 7, 8 of my professors in there, and they're like, "Hey, you should probably consider this." And it's been the story ever since.
That's awesome that you had them to point you in the right direction.
They did. It was definitely a blessing. So I got lucky.
Yeah, and as you talk about Florida A&M, and the band down there was full of energy, and again, the Rattlers, and I've had the opportunity of seeing some of their performances. Now, the connection to Eastern Michigan, Coach was saying, Coach Creighton was here, as you know, doing the first segment as he was leaving the studio. He says, you brought a lot of energy to the Eastern Michigan band, and apparently before each game, I guess there's a chant or there's something that the band says, and the players feed off of what the band is saying. What exactly is that?
It's a tune called We Ready, and this year, when we go out and teach the fight song to the football team, we decided we'll just try something different, come out with something that's going to get them really excited, or slang term crunk, to get them in the mood and ready for football. And it became something that now we do right after the coin toss. So the coin toss happens, and we put the tune up on the board and the sound system, and we join in and play just to get everybody excited and hyped. So energy is kind of what we're all about. We just want to make sure the energy is there at all the events so we can support our team.
Who actually does the choreography for how big is the band on any given Saturday performing?
Right now we're about 160.
So how do you coordinate 160 participants to dance and move on a football field?
Years of practice.
Yeah.
But the students come up with a large amount of choreography on their own. There are some things that I have done for them just to kind of, especially if something has to be done really quick, but we want to make sure we give the students all the opportunities to kind of self-reflect and, not self-reflect, but to give them some type of self-opportunities to expose and, try and see what they can come up with.
So I asked this question to Coach Creighton earlier about student athletes and balancing the life as a student with sports. The same kind of goes in hand with student musicians. How does the program help these students to balance the life of practices and performances with their schoolwork?
Well, what we try to do is make sure that they're strict, very on their schedule. We practice 3 days a week for 2 hours, and that's about it. I do have a philosophy that once we're done, we're done. So I don't hold them all the way until the end. If we accomplish what we needed to accomplish that day, then we make sure we can get them out early. Or if we happen to go over a little bit of time that day, I give it to them next day. Hey, we won't start till 5 o'clock because we went too far on Monday. But we always talk to them about the importance of school, because marching band is fun and something that we enjoy doing, but we all come here to graduate because you won't be able to do it once college is over. So you want to make sure you enjoy the experience while you're here, but we still make sure that the goal is to get out and graduate.
And let's talk about the academic support. We talked about it with Coach Creighton. It's demanding, playing football, being in the band's demanding. Talk to us about the level of academic support that they have so they can certainly graduate, which is why we're all here, is to graduate. Alexis will be graduating fairly soon.
Congratulations.
But talk about the level of support that you provide the band members as well.
Well, the band members, the cool part is the huge support system is within itself. So a lot of students get the opportunity to help each other and support each other in classes. We're actually slightly rare where we have more music ed students in our program than non-music ed. So therefore, a lot of the students get a chance to see and hang with each other around the Alexander Music Building quite often. So they're always helping each other out, getting their homework done, getting prepared for the next lesson or jury, which is a playing test that they have to pretty much have, and things. But the main support system is within the students themselves and the faculty that are there to help and to support them whenever they need any type of help and questions.
One of the things I've always wondered, I've seen bands for years, and there's a Saturday home game. And let's just say there's a back-to-back Saturday home game. When do you prepare for the next Saturday? So in other words, what day of the week do they actually get ready for the next home game after coming off of a home game? That question makes sense.
Well, we start jumping the gun as early as possible. So for example, the last show we just did this past Saturday, we started about 2 weeks ago. So we can kind of lay out a schedule and do our best to try to keep that. And that also helps the students with their studies too, so they're not cramming everything at one time. It's like, hey, we're going to work on this week, or we're going to start this slightly earlier, so they can start looking ahead as well. But we kind of try to plan it out so we don't have to rush and make it happen, and also make sure that the show is actually the best it can be.
So it's kind of like your daily schedule, right, Alexis?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you're running from point A to point B. I mean, this is a very enlightening conversation. I mean, I never thought about everything that goes into becoming a band member.
Yeah. There's definitely, like, I always, I was a theater kid in high school, so I know, like, the drill when it comes to balancing school with the after-school practices and all that. I have a lot of friends that have been a part of the band program, so I know the kind of organization skills you have to be able to do it.
It does, and that's the plus part, is it helps with time management, just like sports and athletics does. Pretty much being a part of a program like this helps you time manage yourself. So when you do graduate in 4 years, life won't kind of throw too many curveballs at you. You'll be surprised, and you won't be surprised, but you'll be comfortable with having a lot of things to do at one time.
And not everybody is a music major.
No. No, they're not.
So you just debunked another myth, a myth that I had. I just assumed that the majority of the students in the band are basically, you know, music majors.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we're actually slightly the opposite, where there's almost like 50-50, almost like 55-45. But most marching bands across the country are 60-70% non-music majors.
Really?
Some even up to 80% non-music major. And honestly, that's something we're actually trying to work on too. We can get more students involved and just enjoy marching band and being a part of the athletic department and athletic events, something we can do as well.
But that's another part of the educational experience here at Eastern Michigan, the other part of the educational experience being creative, the creative arts, you know. We've heard stories about the various high schools and Detroits of the world, the Chicago's of the world, the big cities, or any city for that matter, where some of the musical arts has been cut.
Yes.
And clearly exposing our students to the music and the theater area is beneficial short-term and longer-term, even after you graduate.
That is true. It's one thing that pretty much never leaves. Music is there when we are born. It's there throughout our whole life, and then it's always there once, you know, we decide to go on. So music and arts and theater, they're something that we can always deal with and be a part of. We enjoy watching movies, and we enjoy watching comedy shows and things like that. So that makes it universal all the time. So
you
it's very
experience
important.
it all the time. Do you find it as an advantage for you as well? You've been in theater arts, I think, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a film major. I'm a theater minor. I've done this stuff pretty much my whole life, and I find being creative definitely helps academically as well. It helps you think through different processes and just concentrate better.
You know, we have a minute remaining or so. I got to ask the most important question. Are you going to allow me to perform in the band?
You can play, sure. As long as you can hold a horn, I'll teach you. We'll make it happen for you.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Okay, it was worth a shot.
So I got to ask you in closing, any big plans for the remainder of this year as you think about the remainder of the academic year going into next year?
Well, what we are looking for now is kind of getting prepared for next year. What we're looking for is increasing the numbers in the band. We want to shoot over 200. Get out there and travel to help and support the football team. So go to away games, and anything we can do to kind of get national exposure also is something we're definitely looking to do.
Well, Dr. Chandler Wilson, Director of Bands here, Associate Director of Bands here at Eastern Michigan University, congratulations. We appreciate you coming. I've heard nothing but great things about you.
I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you all tuning in to EMU Today. We will check you out next time.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
It worked out.
It's just like, wow, your jaw just drops.
It's a lot of work. Me and my wife joke about